In this video, we will discuss the concept of mediate inference, categorical syllogism, and the four figures in Western logic. Now, before we start understanding these concepts in detail, it is very important to know as to why do we need to have an understanding of them in the first place. The answer is, let's say an idea comes to your mind. We will call it idea 1, that all men are mortal. Now, while you are thinking about this idea 1, another idea enters into your mind and we will call it idea 2, that Socrates is a man. Now, with these two ideas in your head, you will think of the agreement or the disagreement between these two ideas and come to a conclusion that Socrates is mortal. Now, what you have just done is that you have developed the concept of categorical syllogism via mediate inference. Categorical logic or categorical syllogism is one of the oldest structured logical systems, for it dates back at least to Aristotle's time. Categorical logic is simply a logic of categories or classes. A class is a group of things that we designate with a common noun. For example, it could be a student, men, dogs, politicians, etc. Each sentence deals with different classes. One is the subject class, the other is the predicate class. In logic, we can say something about all members of a class and that will become a universal proposition. Or we can say something about some members of a class and that will become a particular proposition. Similarly, we can also make a positive claim or a negative claim about the proposition. When we make a positive claim, the proposition becomes affirmative in nature. And when we make a negative claim, the proposition becomes negative, or we call it a negation. Simply put, categorical propositions are standard form propositions. They are called standard form propositions because they affirm or deny the inclusion or the exclusion of categories or classes. For example, going back to the same ideas that we talked about in the beginning, the idea 1 that came to your mind was all men are mortal. Now, this is a categorical proposition because it affirms the inclusion of categories or classes. It says that the category of men are or includes the category of mortal. The second idea that came to your head was Socrates is a man. Now, this again is also a categorical proposition or a standard form proposition because it affirms the inclusion of categories or classes. That is, Socrates is a class which belongs to the category of being a man. And because of these two categorical propositions, you came to the conclusion that Socrates is mortal. Now, this again is also a categorical proposition because it affirms the inclusion of the category or the class of Socrates belonging to the category or the class of mortal. Now, there are four kinds of sentences that logic deals with, which have S and P, which stand for the subject class and the predicate class. The four different kinds of categorical propositions are: all S are P, meaning all members of the subject class are members of the predicate class. Please note, we are using the word all here, and there is an affirmation in the sentence, and that is why they are called universal affirmation or a proposition. No S are P, meaning no members of the subject class are members of the predicate class. Here we are talking about all the members, and that is why we are using the word no. So this becomes a universal proposition, and because it is negative in nature, it is called universal negation or an E proposition. Some S are P, meaning Some members of the subject class are members of the predicate class. Now, because we are using the word some here, this means it is not universal in nature, it is particular and affirmative in nature. It is also called I proposition. Lastly, some S are not P. Here, we are saying that there are some members of the subject class which are not the members of the predicate class. So, this becomes particular negation or O proposition. Therefore, all the categorical syllogisms will definitely deal with only these four different kinds of categorical propositions, that is A, E, I and O. A categorical syllogism basically has three propositions, which are called the major term, the minor term and the conclusion. Going back to the example we took earlier, all men are mortal is the major premise, Socrates is a man is the minor premise. Therefore, Socrates is mortal is the conclusion that we draw from the major premise and the minor premise. So, this is a part of deductive mediate inference because we mediate the conclusion from the two premises. It consists of three propositions. The first two are called the premises and the third is called the conclusion. The three propositions also deal with three terms: the major term, the middle term and the minor term. These three terms are exactly used twice in the three propositions, that is the two premises and the conclusion, in the same way. Now, when we say in the same way, we basically mean that the meaning does not change throughout the syllogism, it remains the same. Categorical propositions can exist in four possible ways. There are only four possible ways of showing them. There cannot be less than four and not more than four. These four are also called the four figures of logic. Now, what is this figure? Figure basically means the arrangement of terms in the premises, meaning the major, middle and minor terms that we just talked about, the way they are being given in the syllogism is called the figure. Now, the most important thing that comes to while we talk about the concept of figure is the middle term. Each figure is identified by the position of the middle term in the syllogism, meaning it is only by the position of the middle term we can easily identify the figure that it belongs to. The first figure is the one where the middle term is the subject of the major premise and the predicate of the minor premise. There are two important rules pertaining to figure 1. They are: the major premise must be universal in nature, that is, it must be either A or E proposition, and second, the minor premise must be affirmative or positive in nature, that is, it can only be either an A or an I proposition. For example, all men are educated, all rich are men, therefore all rich are educated. Now, closely observe that the middle term, that is, the category or the class of men, is the subject term in the major premise and the predicate term in the minor premise. Therefore, this is the first figure of syllogism. The structure of the first figure of a categorical syllogism is MP, SM, therefore SP. The second figure of syllogism is where the middle term is the predicate of both the premises. That is, the middle term is the predicate in the major premise as well as the minor premise. The two important rules pertaining to the second figure are: the major premise must be universal in nature, that means it can only be either an A or an E proposition. Second, one premise must be negative in nature, meaning out of the two premises, either the major premise has to be negative or the minor premise has to be negative in nature. For example, no teachers are singers, all dancers are singers, therefore no dancers are teachers. Now here, the middle term is the class of singers, which is the predicate of both the premises. Therefore, this syllogism belongs to the second figure. The logical structure of the second figure is PM, SM, therefore SP. The third figure is the one where the middle term is the subject term in both the premises. The two important rules pertaining to the third figure are: the minor premise must be affirmative in nature, that is, it can only be either an A or an I proposition. The second is, the conclusion must be particular in nature. Now, when we say particular, we automatically realize that it can either be only I or O proposition. For example, all potassium floats on water. All potassium is a metal, therefore some metal floats on water. Now we can easily deduce that potassium is the middle term, which is the subject term of both the premises, that is the major and the minor premise. So it is a third figure categorical syllogism. The logical structure of the third figure is MP, MS, therefore SP. The fourth figure is the one where the middle term is the predicate term in the major premise and the subject term in the minor premise. The three important rules pertaining to the fourth figure are: if major premise is affirmative in nature, then the minor premise will be universal. Second, if the minor premise is affirmative, the conclusion will be particular. Lastly, if a premise and the conclusion is negative in nature, that is, if it is either an E or an O proposition, then the major premise will be universal. Now, when we say universal, we mean it can either be an A or an E proposition. For example, all pugs are dogs, all dogs are animals, therefore some animals are pugs. Here, the middle term is dog, which is the predicate in the major premise and the subject term in the minor premise. So, because of the positioning of the middle term, we can easily deduce that it is the fourth figure categorical syllogism. The logical structure of the fourth figure is PM, MS, therefore SP. Question 1. PM, MS, therefore SP is. The correct answer is, it is the fourth figure categorical syllogism. The logical structure of the fourth figure is PM, MS, therefore SP. Question 2. All men are walking. All Peter are men, therefore all Peter are walking. The correct answer is, it is a first figure syllogism. The first figure syllogism is the one where the middle term is the subject of the major premise and the predicate of the minor premise. The middle term in the above syllogism is men. Question 3. The major premise must be universal and one premise must be negative are the rules of. The correct answer is second figure syllogism. The second figure syllogism has two important rules. First, the major premise must be universal, and second, one premise must be negative in nature.